And Griselda Lewis is still there at the Mandela home in Soweto, where she's been all day monitoring the situation. She joins us live now. So, Griselda, there's been lots of activity, as we've shown earlier on. What is the situation now?
Well, Tsepiso, a bit earlier on, some of the Mandela family has been here at the Soweto home of the struggle icon Winnie Madikizela Mandela in the wake, of course, of the passing of her daughter, Ambassador Zindzi Mandela. So the news came as a shock, obviously, to all of us this morning that she died in a hospital. She had been in the country since the start of the lockdown. The ambassador had been posted to Denmark, as you indicated, in 2015 as South Africa's ambassador there. And, she'd been designated to become South Africa's head of mission in Monrovia, Liberia. So messages of condolence continue to pour in. And the family, in a statement earlier, asking for time before it will announce when a memorial service and funeral details will be made public at a later stage. So her contribution to the struggle for freedom in South Africa also being remembered in her political career. We saw in a statement earlier that, she'd served as the deputy president of the Soweto Youth Congress and also was a member of the Release Mandela campaign and was an underground operative of Mkondo Esizwe. So the president also earlier hailing the late ambassador as a fearless political activist who was a leader in her own right. And that's something that we've been hearing throughout the day today, who witnessed firsthand the brutality of the apartheid system when her father was jailed and her mother, Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, was brandished to Bramford. And, a little bit earlier on, ANC veteran Jeff Radebe was here. And so was the ANC spokesperson, Pule Mabe, who is still outside the home at the moment, about to leave. Thank you very much for agreeing to stay a little bit longer, Mr. Mabe. This must have indeed come as a shock to the African National Congress, as it had to the entire country.
Well, of course, Griselda, we were quite deeply hurt and saddened by the untimely passing of Mama Zindzi Mandela. We have issued a statement of the ANC conveying our condolences to the family, and we'll be working closely with the family in whatever way possible to make sure that we give them the necessary support. Our team as well from Lituli House was here today to also assist, provide some PPEs, some sanitizers and all of that. They'll also be doing the necessary arrangement for social distancing and to make sure that those that visit the family home to bring in condolences could be able to register their details accordingly. So it has not been an easy one for the ANC. We have been dealing with this since in the morning, understanding that Mama Zindzi Mandela was herself a leader in her own name and right, quite outspoken, spoke truth to power without fear or favor. And this is how we will be remembering her as well. She played a huge role in our own organization. We have went on to remember her for the 1995 letter that she read out on behalf of her father, rejecting conditions that were set out by P.W. Botha for Mandela's release. 1985, yes. So you remember that kind of courageous young woman. Those that we come from her own generation had begun speaking. There is already a statement coming out of the ANC caucus in Parliament, which now begins to pay tribute to the many roles that she occupied in the Soweto Youth Congress, as part of the Release Mandela campaign, and the many sacrifices that she made during the dark days of apartheid.
Mr. Mabe, we've run out of time, unfortunately. I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Tsepiso, I do understand we've run out of time, but here outside the home of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, it's a bit everyone has gone back inside their homes. Some of the neighbors a bit earlier on coming through the street here, just passing by. But of course, I think under very difficult circumstances, as we know, South Africa also has to abide by, the COVID-19 protocol. So while it's indeed a very sad loss, and many others perhaps would want to come and pay their condolences, it's not possible at this stage, as many try to keep themselves safe. And we see a lot of those condolence messages coming from other quarters, including on social media, lauding the contribution that she has made in her own right for the struggle for freedom in South Africa.
Criselda Lewis, thank you very much. She speaks live from the Mandela home in Soweto, where she was speaking just a moment ago to the ANC's national spokesperson, Pule Mabe, about how the struggle movement feels about her passing. And earlier on, you would have seen their international relations minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor, speaking about Zindzi Mandela and her role as a diplomat, and how she continued and stayed with that activism, but that it sometimes would be at odds with the diplomatic post that she held. Earlier on, the UDM leader Bantolo Misa describes Zindzi Mandela as a fighter from the early years of her life. He says she was very close to her mother, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, as we know, since is best remembered for her defiance, which she retained pretty much throughout her life, most recently using her voice to support accelerated land reform.